Good evening, I'm David Brown, and this is the Northern Sun Experience. The spring is in full swing, and some of the last swings of the season went down in Morton, Minnesota this weekend. Just like the men's championship 2 weeks ago, the NSIC Women's Golf Championship finally concluded with its spring rounds. After the first 36 played in the fall, Augustana freshman Sierra Langley held a commanding lead among the individual competitors, while the Vikings also were in command of the team championship. To Dakota Ridge Golf Club we go, another beautiful day for the final rounds, and some beautiful shots as well. Upper Iowa's Grace Onsrud nails the 35-foot putt. She would finish in 20th. That's quite a statement from the sophomore. And the great shots weren't just limited to the putting green. Check out the chip from Concordia St. Paul's Rachel Gray within a few feet of the pin. She would end up in third place. But the day belonged to Augustana and its freshmen. Emily Israelson nails the putt. She would end up in second place, while her teammate Sierra Langley would be crowned the NSIC champion. The Andover, Minnesota native led wire to wire, never letting anyone get within striking distance, including her own teammates. She finishes at 24 over par, a full 7 strokes ahead of Israelson. Afterward, Langley discussed her win and how staying positive was key to victory.
I struggled with putting the most, but to get over it, I just kind of gave myself 3 seconds to get mad and then just kind of let it go, let it all, put it all behind me, and then just continue on focusing on the present. My short game has improved pretty well, especially my 100 yards and in shots. So I spent a lot of time practicing that, and also staying positive as well was a big thing.
Here are your final individual results. Langley and Israelson finished 1-2 for Augustana, followed by Concordia St. Paul's Rachel Gray, Sioux Falls' Tavia Rutherford, and Concordia St. Paul's Carrie Opatz. Now, as far as team results go, it's no surprise that with the top 2 individual finishers, the Vikings maintain the lead in the team championship. Augustana finishes at a collective 132 over par, 22 strokes ahead of second place Concordia St. Paul. Upper Iowa, Minnesota State, and St. Cloud State round out the top 5. Vikings head coach Peggy Kirby says her team's depth contributed to its 6th consecutive conference title.
We just keep getting great student athletes, and it's those girls that are winning these championships. We have a great freshman class in this year. We continue to recruit really good players, and they're all competitors, and they all want to win. So they all are really great kids.
It's awesome, especially being a freshman and helping out all the juniors and the sophomores. It's good to contribute to the team.
And now some NSIC teams and golfers will make their way to the Central Region Championship starting on May 4th in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Augustana, Concordia St. Paul, and Minnesota State are 3 of the 9 teams that will make the trek, along with individual golfers Tavia Rutherford of Sioux Falls and Christy Nelson of Upper Iowa. Let's go from the course to the court. The NSIC Tennis Championships went down in Minnetonka, Minnesota on Sunday between the top-seeded Augustana Vikings and number 2 seed Upper Iowa. And just like in golf, the Vikings dominated the competition. Augustana won all 6 of its singles matchups with Upper Iowa, while also taking 2 of the 3 doubles matches. It's the Vikings' 5th straight conference championship and their 13th straight win in NSIC conference play. Augustana has now won 66 straight overall in the conference, and for the seniors on the team, despite all the success over the years, they never took winning for granted.
It was really cool that we could win the 5th again, and you know, we never look past it thinking like, oh, this is easy, we've won it the past 4 years. We have to work hard, and Upper Iowa was a good challenge today. They played really well, so it was nice that we could come out with a win.
We've been really good teammates to each other and pushed each other in practice, and we've all been really motivated and dedicated during practice, and I think it's paid off.
As the champions of the conference tournament, Augustana received an automatic invitation to the Central Region Tournament, where they received the number 7 seed. They will take on 2nd-seeded Northeastern State and Tahlequah, Oklahoma on May 3rd. When we come back, we'll head to Northern State for the conference championships in the Heptathlon and Decathlon, plus we'll take a look at where Minnesota State will be playing football next season.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midco Sports Network is presented by CU Mortgage Direct LLC, Sanford Health, and Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. While the conference championships for individual track and field events won't take place for another 10 days, the Heptathlon and Decathlon held its competition in Aberdeen this weekend. Both events had 13 competitors, and on the men's side, it was Minnesota State's Nathan Hancock winning his second consecutive decathlon, amassing 6,951 points. He came within 17 points of the all-time conference record. On the women's side, a comeback of sorts for Sioux Falls' Caitlin Sawtell. She overcame a day one deficit to take the heptathlon with 5,049 points. It's the Cougars' first multi-event individual championship since joining the NSIC 3 years ago. Afterwards, Sawtell discussed how she refocused on the task at hand.
4 out of 7 events, having a really good day for those kind of helped me hang on for the win, and I was a little worried about the first day, but came back and did what I needed to do to win, so overall it went really well.
Well, we go from the track to construction that's on track. Minnesota State Moorhead officially broke ground on Shields Field on Saturday. The Dragons football team will start playing on the artificial turf surface this fall, kicking things off with a Thursday, September 3rd night game against Winona State. Now, the school asked students and fans to submit different ideas for the field's design, and that included some bold suggestions such as red and white alternating candy cane stripes. But in the end, MSU Moorhead went with a classic look, and coaches and administrators believe it will help the team for years to come.
There's a tremendous buzz in the community about that. This is a super big gift. Exciting because it is from a local business and community, and I think there's a lot of momentum around the things that our new president has been doing on our campus.
I think it's going to look unbelievable. I'll tell you what, we've looked at a lot of artificial turf fields here in the last 6 months in all sorts of conditions, in all sorts of places, and I'm pretty excited about the design we chose. I think the red and the white is going to pop into end zones. I love the fact that we've tried to keep it as clean as we can to keep the focus on the play that's going on in the field. So I think we're going to have a pretty special product, and I'm looking forward to unveiling it on September 3rd.
From a bigger picture standpoint, now we can focus on other things. From a recruiting picture, certainly those guys love the facility upgrades. I think beyond that, just the message it sends about our program, that a prominent organization, business in our community is willing to put their name on us and the things that we do and invest in us. And I think that just raises the level of expectations. I think that raises the level of pride and commitment of the players in the program.
When we come back on the Northern Sun Experience, we'll go around the diamond in the NSIC, including a preview of the conference softball tournament.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midcoast Sports Network is presented by CU Mortgage Direct LLC, Sanford Health, and Dakota Land Honda.
And welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. The NSIC softball tournament gets underway this Thursday at Sherman Park in Sioux Falls. And over this past weekend, the top teams locked up the top seeds. Augustana secured its place as the #1 seed by winning its last 9 games, including sweeps over second-place Winona State, third-place Minnesota State, and Concordia St. Paul. In the last doubleheader of the season, Caitlin Nickel hit 3 home runs in Game 1 versus the Golden Bears. Janelle Troutman earned her 27th victory of the season, striking out 8 Golden Bears while surrendering just 1 run on 3 hits. Meanwhile, Winona State secured the 2nd seed by winning its last 4 games. In Sunday's doubleheader against Sioux Falls, Ashley Walker did it all for the Warriors. She broke Winona State's single-season doubles record with an RBI in the first, and she also struck out 5 in a complete game 8-1 victory. Meanwhile, in Game 2, Jessica Coleman hit 2 home runs and tallied 4 RBI in another romp over the Cougars, 11-1. Now, as the top 2 seeds, Augustana and Winona State will have to wait and see how the morning games play out in Sioux Falls. Here are the matchups starting on Thursday. At 10 a.m., we have #8 St. Cloud State against #9 Sioux Falls, as well as #7 Minnesota Duluth taking on #10 Southwest Minnesota State. #4 Northern State takes on #5 Wayne State, and #3 Minnesota State battles #6 Upper Iowa. The double elimination tournament will conclude on Saturday, May 2nd. Over to baseball now, and we're in the home stretch of the season. St. Cloud State continues to be the cream of the crop with a 4-game sweep over Minot State this weekend. Now, as of Wednesday morning, the Huskies are in the midst of an 11-game winning streak, which is pretty impressive, but not when you consider that Minnesota State is on an 18-game winning streak. Here are the latest standings again as of Wednesday morning. Both the Huskies and the Mavericks are 25-3 in the conference, but St. Cloud State holds the edge in overall standings. Minnesota Duluth, Augustana, and Wayne State are currently 3-4-5 as we head into this final weekend. The double elimination conference tournament will start 1 week from today on May 6th in Sioux Falls. Coming up next, we go under the northern sun at the University of Sioux Falls.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midco Sports Network is presented by CU Mortgage Direct LLC, Sanford Health, and Dakota Land Honda.
And welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. It's time for Under the Northern Sun, where we shine the spotlight on one of our member schools. Tonight, it's the University of Sioux Falls, where a strong belief system provides a foundation for both students and faculty.
You can just totally tell it's just a different atmosphere when you walk on this campus. Everyone is so welcoming. People actually knew my name, and I was a recruit, and I was like, how do you know who I am? And that was super awesome. So, and to this day, 4 years later, that's still how people are. So, I mean, it was real, and it's just awesome.
I was ready for an adventure, I guess you would say, in college. I wanted to kind of go away, but God kind of led me here, which I'm so thankful for, because I couldn't have asked for a better school, coaches, and a program. Really, all around what I wanted and what I needed was right here at USF.
I feel like the mentality of trying to be the best I can be academically and athletically isn't just for myself personally, but it's for a greater purpose, to glorify God and to serve others, and to strive to be a model for other people to look up to and to be inspired by. That's kind of the whole idea that I've learned here at USF.
Well, certainly I believe that by virtue of these students competing as athletes, that is developing skills in them that are going to benefit them much beyond what they're doing on the court or wherever they're playing their sport. Leadership, initiative, this drive and determination, time management, those are skills that these athletes are going to have to master in order to be successful as an athlete as well as a student. In the midst of all of this is this faith component. And I just find it very gratifying to work at a university where I can be open in sharing my faith and responding to students' questions about faith.
Our professors are willing to pull for you and willing to kind of like take you under your wing, and they want you to exceed.
Coach Stugard, he always gives us little things in life that we can take from football, because we always say that there's more to life than football, and we all believe in that. And there's just things that our coach does that really has strived to make us better character people.
If you invest your time here and get involved in activities and leadership positions, then USF will invest itself right back into you, and you will have connections and relationships that will take you far in life. I truly believe that.
You know, everyone wants to help everybody else out, and we're all rooting for each other and want everyone to do their best that they can. So it's just a really tight-knit community with all the athletes and everybody in general, and just all the Cougars are just really close, and so that's great. I really like that.
There's two kinds of education, one that helps you make a living and the other that helps you learn how to live. When people find what God has called them to do, and they're not necessarily shouting it from the streets, this is what God's called me to do, but you see a peace in their life, you see an integration of faith and learning, and you see that they did find what they were supposed to be doing, but they get a stability to themselves and a rootedness, and then you know that something happened in those college years that made that possible. So again, not just about learning how to make a living, but learning how to live is what we strive to do.
Looking back from my freshman year to now, I'm so much more mature in my faith, in learning about just anything academically and athletically with golf. Just that experience here. And you're not doing it alone. You have 1,000 other people right beside you that you can look to for guidance.
When we come back on the Northern Sun Experience, we'll reintroduce you to Northern State sprinter Makenzie Hageman, who continues to make noise taking on all the challenges the track has to offer.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midco Sports Network is presented by CU Mortgage Direct LLC, Sanford Health, and Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. This weekend marks the 90th running of the Howard Wood Relays in Sioux Falls. It's one of the biggest combined high school and college track meets in the entire country. At last year's event, we caught up with a Northern State sprinter who's setting all kinds of records and breaking all kinds of barriers. But the reason why Makenzie Hageman is so special is her ability to be ordinary, not extraordinary. It's Halloween on the campus of Northern State University, supposedly the one time of the year where you can pretend to be somebody you're not. And yet, despite the costume of Where's Waldo, Makenzie Hageman is being herself, laughing with teammates and enjoying a relaxed track practice.
They're a great group of kids and they really care about each other, and we just have a really good team environment at Northern.
Backwards scooter races and Nerf javelin throws aren't exactly the best training for sprinters like Makenzie. In fact, most competitors believe that no practice can live up to the sights and sounds of that quick race down the track. But Makenzie doesn't see it that way. She doesn't hear it that way either.
And I want other deaf people to be able to look to me as a role model, that they can do it as well. If I'm doing it, they can look to me and know that they can do it.
With the help of interpreter Alyssa Bean, Makenzie makes one thing perfectly clear. She may not use all of her senses, but common sense, as well as hard work, make her unstoppable.
And she's so driven, and that really helps. The fact that you can tell just how determined she is, and it really rubs off on her teammates. She's actually lifting the group up because she just works so hard, and even with a few aches and pains, really is good at pushing through it and fighting through a few things, and it's been great for the team.
Makenzie was born deaf, but she had plenty of support from her friends and family. Her older brother Cody piqued her interest in track, and from there she took off. And while running came naturally, the timing and cadence of a race presents a unique challenge.
Someone has to tap my foot to tell me set, and then I can hear the gun, so I am able to hear that part. So then I just take off when I hear it.
We knew she was fast, but we didn't really know exactly how she worked with the gun sound and how she started and everything, so that was a learning process for us that she kind of had to teach us how she starts and gets in the set position in the blocks and everything. And
whatever her methods are, they work. In her first 2 years at Northern State, Makenzie already has the school record in the 60 and 100 meter dash. She also won a silver medal in the 4x100 relay at the 2013 Deaf Olympics in Bulgaria.
It's really impressive how well she gets out of the blocks, and I'm assuming she's got kind of a knack to just drown everything out.
Her different senses kick in, and I think they allow her to, even, push forward, even more. She makes up for what she, can't hear.
The language of track is universal, and Makenzie's teammates and coaches also work to make off-the-field communication as smooth as her glide across the finish line.
It's wonderful, it's great. They love sign language, they think it's a beautiful language, they want to learn, and so I've been teaching them some signs, and the cooperation and rapport is wonderful.
At practice time we have Alyssa there, so we definitely use her to the fullest extent. But she can read lips, so that's very, very helpful. Most of the athletes, they're starting to pick up certain sign language cues and stuff too, so that's been very helpful.
I mean, there are some communication barriers, and she's definitely inspired quite a few of her teammates and coaches to slowly learn some sign language just so we can communicate a little bit better with her.
So that's what I'd like you to do first.
Outside the track, Makenzie's just like every other student at Northern State, going to class, doing homework, and working to keep herself in shape.
The coaches and the other athletes, they have they don't mind, you know, giving me a little support, or they don't look at me as someone who can't do something. Oh, that I'm deaf. They treat me equally. Everyone's very friendly. They feel comfortable to come up to me, approach me.
The girls have just really rallied around her and are really good about, you know, hanging out with her and communicating the best they can with her, and I think she's really enjoying her new teammates.
It would be easy to say Makenzie has hurdled over every obstacle she's encountered. But the truth is, she doesn't even see obstacles, she sees opportunities, both to accept the fact that she's different and to embrace the reality of why that matters. So if anyone still wants to know where to find Makenzie, she's been right here all along, fitting in and standing out.
Definitely an inspiration for me to coach, and you know, I know the same goes for all our athletes. So they're pretty amazed by what she can do.
I think the best part is to just be able to tell people not to set up, like not to have any kind of, that they can do anything you want, and that you're just a regular person, not to feel like you're inhibited by anything, and don't set up any limitations on yourself. You know, don't feel like you have to step back and say, oh, I can't do that, but just to go ahead and get involved, and to think positive, have a positive attitude.
Well, Makenzie's had another successful season in 2015, including her most recent results at the Sioux City Relays, where she finished second in the 100-meter dash, second in the 4x100-meter relay, and 6th in the 200-meter dash. Well, that's our time for this week. Once again, a thank you to all of our NSIC member schools for their contributions to this week's show. We'll be back next week for another Northern Sun Experience.